Assalamu alaikum and good morning to all. Group interest and individual interest. Public interest and national interest. These are the focus of political organizations normally. In developed world, in a part of world which is known as subcontinent, where we are based, concepts of our people, even of politicians, are not very clear. Especially when it comes to national interest or public interest. Most often we see that politicians they prefer to promote self-interest in subcontinent. Situation is like this. Why it is so prevailing ignorance can be one reason behind it. Ignorance is prevailing here at such a large scale that even we are having very few educational institutions which are imparting quality education. In simple words, when a politician ignores public interest, when ignores national interest and promotes only his self-interest, refuse to recognize individual interest, then he tries to find out some other ways and means to win next forthcoming elections. If he is a leader of a political party, and if he is a leader of a ruling political party, a party which is already in power, is ignoring national interest and public interest, individual interest as well, then it clearly means that the leadership of that specific political party is looking for some underhand deal to win in next coming elections, and such underhand deals are very common here. Mostly politicians, they after losing elections, they blame each other. The elections were rigged and engineered. So, to find out the truth behind rigging and engineering of elections, uh, one needs a lot of time and resources to find out the truth. And it's a risky affair as well. It's, in absence of rule of law, uh, obviously, mafias have turned themselves into political organizations, mostly hereditary political organizations are on the scene here in subcontinent, even in India, it is so. Well, the good news is that the feedback which has been delivered to me during past 1 week uh, that depicts that the whole subcontinent is on a track towards true democracy. I mean, now the public interest is also being taken into consideration. National interest is also having some importance for politicians of ruling parties. And, I mean, at least they're struggling to do all that to make everybody's concept more clear. Why individual interest or public interest or national interest is important, not only for a politician but each citizen of a polity where the democracy is there. They do take care of all these interests. Of course, ideology matters a lot, and in developing countries, especially where the ideological commitments are too strong, people they sacrifice their individual interest and sometimes public and national interest as well. Uh, People as politicians, especially while formulating foreign policy of their country, say, for example, Pakistan is having Muslim population. 1970, 97% people here are Muslim. That figure is being provided by Rana Riaz. He is right now with online. So the debate here in Pakistan is that some people they believe in policies of founding father Quaid Muhammad Ali. He was in favor of giving equal rights to minorities as well. And the other group is of the view that Pakistan has been created in the name of Islam and the Muslims shall reign supreme. The minorities, they are having some rights. they do not deserve equal rights as citizens of Pakistan. So the debate is on, and all those uh, people involved in the debate are also in minority. Those who are pleading for Islamic status of Pakistan, they often get 2% vote on those religious political parties, 2 to 3% vote in every general election. They do get that. Support through ballot only of 2% of 97% Muslim population. And all those who are pleading for the point of view of Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah, they are not in a minority. Ruling party disqualified Prime Minister was in favor of policies of Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali. And still that party is in power. So one can safely say that 40-45% people in Pakistan are in favor of the policies initiated by Qaid-e-Azam Muhammad Ali Jinnah. In his cabinet, the Hindu ministers were there, and even Jewish minister Assad, though he had accepted Islam, he was also there as minister in his cabinet. So the debate is on. And then we are having uh, political parties like People's Party. Their stance is a socialist stance. Initially, it was a socialist stance. That was more of a like Islamic version of communism. Islamic equality or Islamic Masawat was the slogan of this party, upon which it had bagged majority seats here in Pakistan during 1970 elections. So the ideological commitments, if we go into the percentage of vote polled in favor of religious political parties, which is 2% of total votes polled, that depicts that ideological commitment is not so deep here in Pakistan among the population. People are mature and they care for their individual interests. And they often elect people who work in public interest and national interest as well. Interestingly, those who work in national interest, those politicians especially, not only politicians, but all the citizens. Those who work in a way that individual, public, and national interest is being secured. In fact, they also promote their self-interest as well in a more secure and honorable way. Once a country is secure, the interest of everybody is being served. Security in terms of national security, in terms of economic well-being, in terms of fundamental rights, provision of fundamental rights, in terms of welfare measures. All this provides for individual security as well. Because once as a nation we are secure, once we are all, our economy is at boom, and the state representatives, government leaders, they are working in public interest, taking welfare measures, helping the weak segments of society, then it simply means that everybody is secure now, and self-interest of everyone has been served in a more honorable way. When somebody resorts to corruption, as politician, as bureaucrat, as functionary of any government department, or of any other entity, all such people, they are overpowered by greed and feelings of securing self-interest based upon ignorance. As I had stated earlier, that corruption is like a cancer. When it spreads around at a large scale, then even surgeons cannot help to suggest some cure through surgeries or to any other way. Such patients often they die. Cancer spreads all around. So the corruption is like a cancer, and that is based upon narrow thinking regarding self-interest, devoid of any sound judgment of individual involved in it. People in developed world, they do not get involved in such practices, corrupt practices. That's why they are enjoying democracy plus economic prosperity as well, and excellent welfare system. We can practically see all this in the United States of America, Great Britain, Scandinavian countries. Why it is so in uh, those developed countries that their concept is very clear about their self-interest, secured through promotion of public and national interest and national security interest. Their concepts are clear because they had taken birth in democracy, where individual can develop his or herself up to the large extent. In dictatorship, people are always ruled through fear and through oppression. And that is the irony of the people of subcontinent. That even from the last 70 years, they are uh, witnessing dictatorship of political parties even, because they don't have, no political party is having a genuine democracy within its own ranks. Their fascist practices are covered as democratic practices. And people here are having no idea about true democracy because it's a new concept here. From the last 200 years, Britishers, they had it as colonial masters of subcontinent. They had introduced this concept here of parliamentary democracy. So prior to that, we were having kingships. Even now, some of our journalists, when they do analyze the situation regarding transfer of power after general elections, and when they do analyze the situation emanated soon before the transfer of power to a specific person, as head of a victorious political party in general elections. Some cases were like this, that family members of such people, like real brothers, were killed before that. And a senior journalist was saying that that was a practice of Turks when they were ruling subcontinent. That during war or struggle for power, the crown prince used to kill his own real brothers on a plea that they might hatch a conspiracy against his rule when he will become the king after the demise of his father, because kingship was a hereditary setup. How we will come out of all this? Uh, Personally, I think that uh, spread of quality education is one way out. both parenting and schooling can play a great role in it. If we minus torture from parenting and schooling, which is really very common here. Even parents, they beat their children, uncles, elder brothers, religious seminary teachers, school teachers. Torture is common with physical punishments are very common. So such practices, they can only produce dictators because the reaction develops in each child who is being exposed to harsh physical punishments and torture, mental torture also here at a large scale. There shall be awareness among fellow citizens that as parents, as teachers of schools, as teachers of religious seminaries, wherever. I mean, religious seminaries are also the reality of our society. And I'm not the one who ignores the reality. Though they only grab 2% vote, religious parties, but still they're here and they're very organized. Recently, the way they had staged that sit-in near Faizabad, Islamabad, that has raised many questions regarding ability of the provincial government of Punjab and the federal government as well to tackle such situations. Because ultimately that was army when was called in, then the sit-in was removed from Faizabad and now the road is clear. Now everyone can travel between Pindi and Islamabad freely. But for 22 days at least or 21 days, freedom of movement of the citizens was curbed by the citizens of a religious political party. And they were too small in number, but were too organized. So these are the realities which we have to face here. And to reach that goal of true democracy, real prosperity, all those who are consulting me to come up with the real definition of self-interest and national interest, public interest, national security interest. They shall know that to have a clear concept about all these interests, we must have a sound mind and a knowledge base, a sound knowledge base. Without having quality education, we cannot grab the idea that by securing national interest, how can we serve our self-interest? When you're secure as a nation, obviously as an individual, you're also secure. So your self-interest has been also served. If your economy is at boom and there is no corruption, and the welfare setup is there, then you're also economically secure. Your self-interest has been also served in an honorable and intelligent way. But if the feelings of greed and narrow self-interest takes someone over, and if he or she resorts to corruption, and if these feelings get spread at a large scale, and corruption corruption spreads at a large scale, then every citizen becomes a loser because the economy goes down, national security is being compromised always. And that's why I do criticize NAP all the time. No deals. Once a person is corrupt, is being convicted, then everything he had earned through corruption shall be confiscated, shall be returned back to the government exchequer. There shall be no deal. And Article 1962-63, if is equipped with one more sentence, then anyone, any convict of corruption or any other heinous crime will never be entitled to aspire for public office again, as it is in the United States of America, as it is in Great Britain, as it is in Scandinavian countries. Nobody gives a second chance to corrupt. But the irony is that in Pakistan, the corrupts, they are having all the chances. And that's why the situation is so critical here. So, not only here in Pakistan, but in neighboring India and in Afghanistan as well, large scale corruption is going on. So, ultimate uh, outcome of such situations is chaos. 40% of Afghanistan is in chaos. That is lawless. The government has no control over it. And even in rest of Afghanistan, even in capital Kabul, nobody is secure because some people are promoting their self-interest. All the aid coming from the West is going towards banks in UAE, Swiss banks. There are reports of large-scale corruption in Afghanistan. Same has happened in Pakistan and India as well. So overnightly, I don't think that positive changes can come. But once at large scale, we all realize that our self-interest is much better secured if we work in national interest. Honestly, economic boom definitely be the outcome, efficient welfare system, along equipped with equal opportunity, can guarantee economic security and prosperity to everyone. Overnightly, people they become millionaires in the United States of America through legitimate means because they they are security conscious people. So they are top military power in the world. They are the most secure people, and then their political system is so clean. No corrupt can survive it, no matter whatever his or her portfolio is. The system of checks and balances is there. And, their top man can be checked, top executive president can be checked by the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Their House of Representatives, representing majority, any legislation from federal legislature can be checked by Supreme Court if it is against the interest of the people and is not compatible with the spirit of the Constitution, can be declared null and void. So we have to improve our system further, political system. And how we can do that? If we don't have any brainy person in politics, and if we develop a state, sorry, if we only develop a taste for emotional assertions of certain people to elect them as our leaders, then it will be really difficult to achieve all these goals. If all the brainy people they become doctors, professors, engineers, and administrators and bureaucrats, then who will run the country? Thomas Jefferson, General George Washington was a military man. He was a general. He had led the War of Independence in the United States of America. But the intellectual base of politics was provided by Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton. Both were having contradictory views towards politics, but there was a logic in it, and they were capable of making a political system more fair, more free from tyranny and oppression, more secure system for individuals, groups as well, for the whole, for all the citizens of the United States of America. They were able to make them politically conscious. Through written words, both used to write. They were elected presidents of the United States of America. Uh, so, through written words, through informal means, I mean, they used to write in newspapers. Both were elected as presidents of the United States. So when we opt for a low caliber leadership, or aspirants in politics are having no potential of realizing all these facts, that the fundamental national security interest is to have a sound political system in which rights of every citizen has been have been secured, and everybody is happy and loyal to the state. So I will repeat that one thing again, that to really secure our self-interest on solid ground as citizens of Pakistan, we need a leadership which can work in public interest and in national security interest as well, and is capable of doing so. Capability counts a lot. Only emotional assertions or that sincere feelings, okay, I'll do that, but is having no idea what to do. If a leader is having no uh, knowledge base, and his team is also important, because without a team, nothing can be implemented. And team does not mean only the cabinet ministers. In bureaucracy, bureaucracy ultimately implements everything initiated by elected leaders. And here I want to make one more point really clear, that we will become more near to our destiny of a prosperous and secure Pakistan if we start relying upon development projects on CNW, or which was PWD for Public Works Department. The huge amounts which are being given to the members of federal and provincial legislatures, they are more source of a corruption than of a development. And nowhere else such practices are found. In Great Britain, Public Works Department handles all the money for public works, and that is a secure option, because the government departments, they go through the audit every year. So there are no chances of corruption. Then. And now with these huge amount of development funds for MLAs, MPAs, the politics in our country has become almost commercialized. Why no one thinks about welfare system or foreign policy here after coming into power? And why do they concentrate more on building roads and school buildings and university buildings, and they do ignore the quality of education, but they concentrate on construction work because the commissions are involved. If you appoint, a person who is overwhelmed by self-interest, based on ignorance, he will never appoint a able person as university vice chancellor. He will find out someone who can create more opportunities for construction work in university as vice chancellor, so that his contractor friends, people himself can enjoy the money in terms of commissions. So now I think you guys are having some clear concept what is going on in Pakistan, why everybody is for road construction and for more construction of schools, school buildings and university buildings, but are not interested in having in imparting quality education. They are not interested in hiring educated lot to teach. So I hope that this situation will not prevail along. And soon we will be on a real track of true democracy. And I wish all the best to all of you. Thanks for being with me, Sajid, Zahid, Rana, online, all the three university fellows, and are silent like anything. There are no comments. So I wish all the best to all of you. Good luck as well.